Live from Austin, Texas, with host Rosie Newberry. Local trends, shopping, and more. This is Studio 512.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for Studio 512. Summer is a great time, of course, for big gatherings, and that might mean some extra festive fun in the mix to make it a super memorable time. Svetlana Novikova is a caricature artist who offers live take-home drawings that your guests will love. She's here to tell us more about all of the art that she offers. Svetlana, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to pump you up today because you are a fabulous artist, and actually your background is in fine art. So can you talk to me about how you became a caricature artist and what you like about it?
Yes, I've been an artist for over 25 years, and I was always fascinated with caricatures, but never knew how to get into it. And I would go to festivals and malls and see people draw caricatures there, and I just couldn't figure out how they do that so quick and cute. So, about 15 years ago, I was working in an art school, and another teacher was actually teaching. She was into caricatures already, so I asked her a lot of questions, and she showed me some basics, and that's kind of how I started. And I just kept practicing, and it turned into passion, and the passion turned into full business. So, and I even got into crazy caricatures for challenges. And I even got invited to speak at the convention last year for caricature artists. So that was very exciting. So it kind of took me...
Because someone is honoring your work. And in fact, we have a couple of pictures. I pulled these because I thought they were so fun. These are some of your crazy caricatures.
Yes.
These are studio pieces, y'all. So this is something that she's taken a little bit more time with. But I can guess who that is, even though there are no eyeballs there. That's Jack Nicholson, right?
Yes, that is, yes.
So these are some celebrities, y'all. So let's check out another one. Does anybody recognize that? Maybe Daniel Radcliffe?
Yes,
I think it's a
very
dead
fun.
giveaway. I love how you play with scale. This one I had to pick because I love this actor, Danny Trejo,
Yes.
right? And the way that you choose to play around, and there's old Sly Stallone, with like the scale of things. Just talk to me a little bit about that for a second, because sometimes some of these really wacky caricatures that you've now become known for, they don't even have all of their eyeballs or a nose or a mouth, but you can still tell who they are.
Yes, that's the best part. It's kind of like a puzzle. You look at it and you go for dominant features. And once you find those, then it's going to be pretty easy. Once you practice a lot,
yes.
You can sort of pull out the likeness from that. So, and it's a lot of fun to figure it out. So
that is really cool. So there are really wacky things you can do if you want Svetlana to. Takes a little bit more time, but you offer all sorts of different things, especially ones that can be a little bit faster. So will you talk me through some of the pieces that we're looking at here on the table today?
Sure, yes. For events, we offer different things. We offer traditional caricatures on paper.
Okay, I've got these two traditional caricatures. How cute are they?
Those are fun. And we also do small caricatures. Actually, those are fingerprint caricatures.
This is so precious.
And they're made out of your fingerprints, and we draw a little picture out of it. So that's a cute little thing to have for different parties.
And you can just... quick little frame, and that's a precious thing. That's your little faces
good
and a good memory of the event.
Yes, for sure. And then we also do coaster caricatures. They're also a little bit small right there. There's the little example 4x4 coaster right there.
Oh, okay, a coaster, yes.
So those are cute and quick. We also do pet caricatures at
These
events.
are fun.
There's been a lot of pet events lately, so that's been fun to do. And we also do fashion sketches. Some could be digital or traditional. We can add custom backgrounds to that. And let's see, we have pet caricatures right here. Could be custom or live for events.
What a great gift it would be to give someone a caricature of their pet. Absolutely hangable, frameable stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so you do a lot of this live drawing on physical paper, but oftentimes at events you actually bring like digital work to work on. And in fact, she's made this fabulous little caricature of me. I'm so grateful. You made me look so good.
Oh, you're so cute already.
You're so kind. Awesome. So this is something you bring to parties. You're gonna jewel it up for us. So we're
Yes.
starting with a slightly more basic image. I love that we have Studio 512 on it.
Yes.
We're heading towards the cowboy hat, y'all. So let's
All
see you
right.
add that final few touches
So
on.
here, the magic of technology, we're gonna add a cowboy hat.
I think that's so
and here's
cute.
a bandana. And there's a yeehaw sign.
A little
Hopefully I'm
yeehaw.
saying it right.
Yes, you did great.
All right. And here we're gonna do some stars.
Some
And-
stars.
And here we go. And then what happens at the events, we'll usually print it out on 4x6 papers, and the person can have it with them as a memory. So that's for
It's
you.
really
Enjoy.
precious. Okay, I'm hanging this up in my office absolutely immediately. So it's so cool that you can come to us with all the digital technology, right? You are like kind of a self-contained
Yes,
digital
yes.
whiz and also doing all the art. And then people get to walk home with their little portraits. I think it's really sweet. Okay, talk to us about your add-ons as well, because my goodness, on top of all this fabulous art, you do lots of other things. I do want to make sure that I touch on live painting, because some of the pieces I've seen from you are just absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Yes, so we also offer face painting and balloon twisting and glitter tattoos and live painting. Live painting is great for weddings or special events where I or another artist will come and draw live for a while, and usually it's finished in a studio afterwards because it takes a while sometimes.
It takes a while,
Yes.
but it's really cool for guests to walk by. This is one of those pictures,
Yes,
y'all.
that
How
is.
gorgeous is this? That like to watch an artist work while the event is actually going on.
Yeah,
So
it makes it
cool.
more special, yes, for sure.
Oh,
For guests especially. Yes, and that was a retirement party image, so that was really fun.
Oh,
to
and
do.
then
It
you'll
took
be
a
able to
while.
see the faces.
Yes.
Yeah, because there are a lot
It
of
took a
faces
long
there
time.
to do, right? Okay, but you
Yes.
did mention the face painting. We showed that a little bit.
Yes, face
and balloon twisting. So not only can you kind of scale up to these more serious events like a wedding, a retirement party, something for the adults, but you can also do a lot for the kiddos.
Yes, kids would enjoy that too, especially in the summertime. They have a lot of parties going on for birthdays, so yes. this is a
I've
lot of
seen
fun.
like a little Spider-Man. We're able to do
Yes.
superheroes, or if they want to be transformed into a butterfly,
Yes,
they've got that
that's
too.
what we'll do. Yes, that's awesome.
You're awesome at your work, Svetlana. Okay,
you.
so my last question is, how can people book you for parties?
So you just go to my website, sillyartist.com, and fill out the form. And if you have any special requests, we sometimes can customize that. So just feel free to reach out, and we'll help you out.
Sounds good to me. You guys, she turned caricatures around for me at the drop of a hat, so she can make your event absolutely fantastic. Svetlana, thank you so much.
Thank you, Stu.
All right, we appreciate it. Okay, learn more about booking Svetlana for your next party or gathering at sillyartist.com. Welcome back, everybody. The Austin African American, 3 A's Book Festival is back again for its 19th year this Saturday at the Carver Museum. Dr. Rosalind Oliphant, founder and director of the festival, is joining us, along with featured author and futurist. That's a real job, everybody. Mimi Stiles. We're fascinated to hear more about that. So y'all, good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely to have you both here. Dr. Roz, we're starting with you. Talk to us about what we can expect at the fest. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. The 19th Austin African American Book Festival is happening this Saturday, June 28th at the Carver Library and Museum. Things start at 10 a.m. and we go to 4, and we have activities for kids in our kids zone, which is happening in the library. And then in the museum, we have author signings, book discussions, opportunities for authors to network with one another. So it's going to be a great time, and we're inviting everyone to come out.
Sounds lovely to me. Okay, I do want to ask Mimi, because you are going to be featured at the festival. I want to ask a little bit about your work, first and foremost, if I can, and what a futurist actually is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, most people might know me as the president and founder of an organization called Measure. We're data activists. We're people that really just believe in the power of storytelling and data. And so as a futurist, I get to live in both the past and also in the future. I consider myself a time traveler.
Whoa, this is fascinating. So are we talking about the future as in climate, people, that sort of thing, or are we talking about like general feelings about what the world might act. I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting
There's
a
so
grasp.
many intersections there.
Yeah,
but,
there
but
are.
you're definitely on the right track.
Okay, thank you.
It's really about, legacy work. Like, what is the work that I am doing today that matters to my great-great-granddaughter who's actually featured on my book.
Oh my gosh. Okay, exciting. Well, then, yes, let's talk about your book, girlfriend.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's called The House the 90s Built.
The house the 90s built. The 90s was just such an incredible era. It was also a time where, we were navigating so much without the language. So we didn't have words to express, mental illness or mental health, right?
So true.
And so this is a magical, Afrofuturistic magical memoir that I time travel back to the 90s to experience my home again, and also experience my sibling to, also experience mental illness. But instead, I have the language and I have the names to know exactly what it is, and I flip the script in order to see it as their superpower.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. So this is truly based on your own personal history, but a revisionist style of it, making it a strength instead of something that maybe you struggled with.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is definitely a reconciliation with the past and with the backdrop of the 90s, when it was hip hop culture and it was fun and it was before all the technology boom. So that's really what this story is all about.
When you still heard the burner, when you tried to go on to AOL, that sort of thing. Who would be a great audience for your book?
Oh gosh, the audience has varied. It is folks that have grown up also in the 90s, but it's also people that are just nostalgic about how we grew up in the 90s, pre internet and pre cell phones at every single moment. And so my daughter is 25 years old and she is in love with this book, but then also my mentor is over the age of 70 and she is also a huge fan.
Well, and you're telling me that you're talking to your great granddaughter, who I'm sure does not exist yet. You are much too young. But is this kind of a writing to the children of the future then?
It absolutely is. I'm also a technologist. I do a lot of work. I'm the vice president of responsible and ethical artificial intelligence for Austin AI Alliance. And so I think a lot about the future, right? I think about data, I think about the future. So does she really exist? Is she, in a future alternate space?
Wow, you brought us a big dog today.
Yes.
Dr. Roz, I'm impressed. And she's part of the Indie Author Showcase.
Yes.
So can you tell me more about that?
So the Indie Author Showcase is a platform that we've established with the Austin African American Book Festival to showcase authors like Mimi who are just starting out, who have independently published their work. We've created this platform where they can sell their work and they can be a part of the showcase where they can talk about their work, pitch their work. And an added bonus is we've also created this space where new and emerging authors can connect with nationally recognized authors.
That's huge.
We have Walter Mosley and Marita Golden and Paul Coates with Black Classic Press, all literary luminaries who will be there and who can connect with up-and-coming authors and share wisdom.
Bring business cards.
Yes.
You want these people to remember your name.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that is really cool. And you've been talking about like the space, the setup for a moment. So I do want to ask about the Carver Museum and why you feel it's such an appropriate setting for this celebration.
Well, I've been a bookseller in this community for 30 years.
You stared at a kiosk, right?
Yes,
I mean,
started
it's
at a
huge.
kiosk, and when I started at the kiosk in Highland Mall, which is now ACC, when I started at the kiosk, the Carver Museum and library were places where I held events. So I've had a long-standing relationship with the Carver complex. And even with the bookstore and every festival that we have had, from the very first festival, has been at the Carver Museum and Carver Library. So it's a near and dear space for us and for the community.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. And I do want to talk about the theme of this year's event, because you say without a theme, we've got too much to cover.
Yes,
Quite
yes,
frankly, we've got so
absolutely.
much going on. So this year's theme is Our Stories, Our Voices. I'm going to come to you first, Mimi. What does that mean to you when you hear that theme?
It means that our stories matter. You know, it means that we have the opportunity to really share what's deep within us, to put it on paper, to document it, and then, you know, to share it with the world. For me, this book really wasn't for everyone at first, but I realized that my story is actually a lot of other people's story as well. So this really, for me, gives me an opportunity and a platform that I could not have ever imagined.
And self-published work.
Yeah,
Good for you, girl.
absolutely.
Especially having a full-time job on top of that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine when you slept, but good on you for getting this book out into the world, because now hopefully a lot of people will get to experience it. And so I'm going to come to you, Dr. Rouse, because I'm guessing you're the one who chose this theme. Our
yes,
stories,
yes.
our voices. What does it mean to you?
So when we think about our stories, our voices, we are looking at memory, the memory that our voices hold in terms of our history and our heritage. We're looking at power. Our voices are powerful, resistant. Our voices have strength. And then we're looking at the purpose, because that shows the intentionality of our voices, the vision of our voices. And throughout the festival, this theme is woven throughout the festival, from the very beginning with the Indie Author Showcase, listening to these new and emerging voices. Also, then we have a lecture by Dr. Peniel Joseph, his first book, Freedom Season, What Can 1963 Teach Us? And then Walter Mosley in conversation with Paul Coates. We also have a conversation with Marita Golden about the power of Black voices. And then we close out the day with an awesome panel discussion, Organizing for Truth and Justice, where all the things we've talked about all day, how do we take that and put it into action? We're not just there to hear, this is about activism as well. And what can we do? How can we make a difference? How can we continue to use our voices and our stories to make a difference?
Turning it into kinetic energy. Let's
Yes,
go.
yes.
All right. Such a cool event. Thank you both so much for sharing. And Mimi, congratulations on your
Yes,
new book.
yes,
A published
absolutely.
author, everyone. Guys, this event is free. The best price on the planet. You can find the full schedule and learn more. Just go to aaabookfest.org. Welcome back. Hey, film lovers, listen up. The Austin Asian American Film Festival is in full swing this weekend, and there is a lot to see and do. Executive Director of the Fest, Hannah Huang, is here to tell us a bit more. Hannah, good morning.
Yeah, so it's day 3 for us, and it's been great. We've had full theaters since Wednesday. We went to Korean barbecue on Wednesday night after the screening of All That We Love by local filmmaker Yen Tan. And it was starring Margaret Cho.
Oh, whoa.
So, yeah,
That was a big name to get.
It is. Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Missy Pyle,
Wow.
Atsuko Katsuka. It was a stellar lineup in there. Of course, everyone wanted to know in the Q&A, which I did that for him, what was it like working with Margaret Cho? And he was like, she's very normal. Like she
is?
Her comedic persona is not what you're seeing. Like
I've
that's
always
not-
wondered about
It's different.
comedians like that. Yeah, but she was a fantastic comedian. I haven't seen
fantastic,
some of her. I don't know if she's coming out with new work, quite frankly, but
She's been producing a lot. She's been behind the scenes for a lot of Asian American independent film, and which is a core part of all our work is like how do we also bring to light and help filmmakers who are behind the camera, right? The filming crew that's behind the camera, and not just think about only representation in front. So year round, outside of like the main 5 festival days, what we're working on is advocating and resource building for our Asian American filmmakers locally. And this year, we're so happy and fortunate that we've had 6 films by local Austin filmmakers, including a Texas short program yesterday.
which is fantastic. And you were part of that Texas Short program. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about how that went?
Yeah, it went fantastically. And actually, there's some people that I went to college with, and they're now like out there making art.
No way.
So one of our other filmmakers also did what's called our bumper. So that usually plays right before the film starts. And she did a fantastic little bumper that just really encapsulate the spirit of playful rebellion, the theme this year.
Playful rebellion
Yes.
is the theme this year. I like that theme. Okay, let's talk about the programming happening tonight.
Yes.
And then as we're heading into the weekend.
So we have Night and Fog in Kyrgyzstan. That is a documentary. And then we have Chinatown Cha-Cha. Night and Fog, that filmmaker is following a group of teenage refugees, and they're all female, and so they kind of do like guerrilla documentation of their process of getting displaced. And it's just such a tender, such a unique and fresh take on that, where you're bringing these young teenagers in and reuniting once you get that footage. And I mean, refugees and displacement is not an easy topic, but then we kind of lighten it up later in the day with Chinatown Cha-Cha. And
I was
that's
going to say, so I'm
documentary.
hearing
Yes.
lots of genres.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a huge, diverse slate for everyone. Chinatown Cha-Cha is fantastic. It's a documentary about Kobe E. Her family owned an Asian American theater in San Francisco, and that did like nightclub burlesque kind of scenes. So she's been a burlesque dancer all her life and did that circuit of dancing around globally. And then there's also a group called the Follies. So it's an elder group of Chinese American women that go around and perform dance and burlesque and other things. And
Good for them.
fantastic, yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
Chinatown Cha-Cha, I love
It's
it.
a great one.
I've been to so few places in California, but I have been to Chinatown and San Francisco, and my goodness, it's a fantastic place.
Yes.
Just absolutely wild. Okay, let's talk about third act. So that's something that's going to be happening this weekend as part of like one of your big headliners. And this is a big deal because of how deeply sewn in all of the messages, themes, and people involved are.
Yeah, I mean, it's another documentary by Tadashi Nakamura. Tadashi's visiting with his son for that. But it's really about 4 generations of his family, including his father, Robert Nakamura, who recently passed just two weeks ago. But it's a tender and really loving a chronology of how his father pioneered the Asian American media scene, was the founder for Visual Communications, which puts on the LA Asian Pacific American Film Festival.
Wow.
So we're very happy to bring Tadashi and his son finally. We've shown some of his shorts, and now we are able to show this feature with him present. But it is a little bittersweet because we would have loved for Dad to have been here as well.
Absolutely. And it brings up a really good point about the importance of the work that y'all do. You talked about behind the camera and in front of the camera. Why is it so important to continue to uplift Asian American voices?
I mean, I really think, Austin as an art town also is like people do a lot of their art on the side, and even more so in our Asian American community. So many people have that day job that sustains them, but we want to see more full-time artists. We had that big moment a couple of years ago with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Absolutely.
Sweeping the Oscars, right? And we want more of that. And we see more of that coming. There's some really, really talented folks, and just being able to do things like refer one of our filmmakers to do camera work for Sesame Street a couple of years ago.
Cool.
And then he has a young daughter. And so when that episode came out, like a year later, right? He was like, look, Daddy shot this scene. Like, that's such a great moment.
Yeah.
Another part of what we've been doing is for the last several years since 2021, so post-pandemic, we started to have filmmakers attend with their parents. And so we always make sure that there's an intergenerational thing happening. So you can walk the red carpet, you bring your parent on. In this case, this year is Tad and his younger son. And so to have that moment where your family understands like you're a star,
Yeah.
right? And
even
then-
if you're not the star of the
and even if
movie
they
or
don't
the short.
understand what I'm saying in English. So
Yeah.
there's some fathers that they don't understand English, but there is a father who spoke Mandarin and Taiwanese, which I also speak. And I went up to him and was able to tell him in his mother tongue, like, it's so amazing you're here. Thank you for supporting your daughter in this. And she's doing great things. She has a short called Patsy that was in our lineup last night.
Wow, okay. A very busy weekend ahead. We could talk for a lot longer,
can.
I think, about this Film Festival and all the love and effort that you guys put into it. But thank you for doing what it is you do for our community. And I can't wait to see how the rest of the weekend goes. We appreciate your time, Hannah.
Yes, thank you.
All right, the 17th annual, they've been doing it a while. Austin Asian American Film Festival is on now through the weekend. Learn more about getting tickets to upcoming events and see the full list of programming at aaafilmfest.org.
Hey Austin! Our shelters have been facing chronic overcrowding for over a decade. Let's visit a shelter just outside the city and see how they're helping animals find their forever home.
My name is Christian Long. I've worked here at Texas Humane Heroes for just under 2.5 years. We just opened this new facility here in Leander in November of 2024. In 2024, we placed over 1,800 dogs and cats into living home, rescued animals from over 57 shelter partners from across the state, and spayed and neutered over 6,500 animals. We have 210 animals in our care, about 90 dogs and 110 cats. That is over capacity for us. We definitely have more puppies than we have room for at the moment. People pass away, or they move away, or their lives change and they don't factor in their pets. If more people were spaying and neutering their pets, that stops the problem at its source. We have a low-cost vet clinic on site. In addition to being able to spay and neuter, microchip, deworm, treat all of our pets while they're waiting for their forever homes, we also have it open to the public. If you have a pet that needs vaccinations, needs to get spayed and neutered, we offer those services at a much lower cost than most commercial vets. And that's a big part of our mission, is we want pet ownership to be affordable for everyone. To seeing so many good cats, and especially really good dogs that really don't have any special conditions, or there's nothing particularly quirky about their personality. They're just not the kind of dogs that get adopted very often. There are so many of them here that would do so well in just about any home environment. And sometimes you're understanding if they're an only dog, or they might not like little kids, or they might be a little rough, or they might need a yard, or that makes a little bit more sense. But sometimes, there's so many of these dogs don't have any of those conditions, and they just sit and wait for months or years sometimes. That's really heartbreaking. I have two medium-sized dogs. One of them I got from here. There's a real personal, just sort of connection that you have with a dog or a cat. Dogs and cats have been part of our lives and our shared humanity and evolution for thousands and thousands of years. They're inseparable from who we are and what we've gone through. They think so much of us. There's something very humbling about, wanting to be the person that my dogs think I am. All shelters, every shelter, the shelter closest to you right now needs help. We have a direct donate option on our website. You can name a kennel after your pet, but maybe you're really good at website building, or you're really good at photography. Reach out to the shelters and ask if you would maybe take photos of the shelter pets. All that stuff really does wonders. Visit us at humaneheroes.org. We've always got events right around the corner, all sorts of ways to get involved.
Support Texas Humane Heroes today by donating, fostering, or volunteering. Come to events. Spread the word. Life is so much better with a pet in it.
All right, folks, are you ready to turn up your joy and celebrate love, community, and fabulous self-expression? Then mark your calendars, because the Pride Picnic at Peace Park is just around the corner. It's all happening Saturday, June 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Peace Park, brought to you, of course, with pride by the Peace Park Conservancy and our friends over at Future Front Texas. There is a lot to do. There will be clay workshops by Gaze with Clay, fun name, a book swap hosted by the Little Gay Shop, charming crafts with Future Front Texas, DJ sets by Queer Vinyl Co., and a whole lot more. Now, you don't need to bring too much, just a picnic blanket and a refillable water bottle to keep you cool and hydrated. But if you're thirsty for a little something stronger, you can stop by the Terrace Tavern Bar for beverages. Of course, you'll want to save room for food trucks on site like Mariachi Tex-Mex, Brother Friend Coffee, and some icy treats. Perfect for this time of the year, from snow ride, snow boxes. Getting there is easy. PC. Peace Park is located at 1100 Kingsbury Street. If you can, it's suggested that you walk, bike, take a scooter, or ride share. But if you're driving, free parking is available at the Austin Rec Center and the ACC Rio Grande Garage. Street parking is also available. This Pride picnic is going to be a blast, so bring your friends, your family, those you consider your family, and let's celebrate Pride the Austin way with sunshine, crafts, and good education. You can learn more at peacepark.org. We'll see you all out there on the green. Happy Pride from all of us at Studio 512 to you. The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Hey, did you go a little lax on spring cleaning this year? Let 1-800-GOT-JUNK help you get the clutter out of the way now so that you can relax all summer long. General Manager Austin Martin is here to tell us more. Austin, I think a lot of us recognize your logo, but let's talk a little bit about the company and what it is y'all offer.
Absolutely. So 1-800-GOT-JUNK is a full premium service junk removal. We literally come in and we can handle anything and everything from larger furniture, mattresses, appliances, even the shed teardown that you have out back that's needed to go for the past 10 years or so.
Wow, so you can handle some big items.
Absolutely.
As well as the smaller stuff. Now, do you do both residential and business?
We do. We offer both residential and commercial properties, and they all book the same way as well. And it's the same process start to finish for both.
Okay, and we'll ask a little bit more about that in a second. I want to ask about the items you typically take, but my understanding is that the list of what you won't take is actually very, very small. So there's a whole range out there.
Yep, no, the list is actually very small. The items, that we don't accept, which is just going to be flammable, chemical products, gasoline, motor oil, anything that's going to be super hazardous to the environment, just because we want to make sure that we're disposing of it correctly in the right way.
Mm-hmm. And the things that you do take include big ticket items, something like trampolines. When people get into a situation where they got to get rid of a trampoline, you guys can bring the saws out.
Yep, we can bring the saws out. We can even bring that sledgehammer out. Maybe we have to knock it out of place a little bit, but we do remove anything and everything, no matter how big or how small it is. We'll make sure to get it out for you.
So let's talk about what it looks like for 1-800-GOT-JUNK to get going on someone's house.
So we just have 2 certified teammates show up, and literally all you have to do is point, and they're going to take care of everything for you. They're going to do a quick evaluation of everything you have, and they're going to be able to make sure to get it out from start to finish, and you don't have to touch a thing.
I love that. All right, let's talk about how folks can get started with you. It could be the middle of the night, and they can still get booked with y'all.
It can. You can book any time of day. We've even had customers book as late as 3 a.m. in the morning, and we're going to be out at 8 a.m. that following day.
Wow.
We are the only same-day junk removal service, so anytime you book us, we can definitely be there same day to remove those unwanted items.
I did not know it was same day. That's really cool. And not only that, but you guys can give us a really good estimate, and there's no obligation.
No obligation at all. We come out and give you that completely free estimate, and if you agree to it, we haul it off right then and there. If not, no harm, no foul.
Sounds good to me. All right, thank you, Austin, for your time.
Perfect, thank you.
Go to 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com or give them a call at 1-800-468-5865 to get started today. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by 1-800-GOT-JUNK. The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by Advanced Pain Care. Hey y'all, going through cancer, of course, can be really challenging, both emotionally and physically. Pain management specialist, Dr. Marco Uribe, is here to talk to us about how Advanced Pain Care can address specific issues affecting cancer patients. And actually, Dr. Uribe, I'm going to ask you to get a little personal right off the top here. Talk to me about why you wanted to become a pain interventionist, especially when it comes to cancer care.
Yeah, this is really, something that really hits home for me. My younger sister, Marissa, we were growing up here in Austin. She was battled through cancer for most of her life. When I was in medical school, she got diagnosed with late-stage colon cancer. and had a lot of pain. And just her battle through that introduced me to what pain can do for not only the patient, but for the patient's whole family and their relationships.
So let's talk about the common types of pain experienced by cancer patients and maybe how that differs from typical pain that somebody else might experience.
Yeah, it's definitely different than your typical pain patient. Cancer pain, is very multifaceted. You have neuropathic pain, which is pain from the nerves when sometimes the tumor is growing or sometimes the cancer is advancing and it's impacting nerves, sending sporadic signals that we can intervene with.
Let's talk about what the different treatment options are that are available for managing cancer pain.
Definitely, there's a lot of different options. With cancer pain, it's the whole patient, like we've talked about. Oftentimes one of the cornerstones of therapy is medications, but with cancer patients uniquely, they're oftentimes on a lot of medications that may be the cause of some of their pains.
Right.
So yes, we use medications to the best extent that we can, and that's what they're for patients that are going through this battle.
You guys have a host of ways to help people in all different types of pain.
Exactly, yeah. So using a whole team is very, very important. It's not just the body that's sick, it's the whole human being and, their experience with their relationships and their mood and their sleep. And so we use an interdisciplinary team approach at Advanced Pain Care with psychology. We communicate with the oncologist. We communicate with, the surgical oncologist.
Absolutely, getting better outcomes for patients who are in pain. Dr. Uribe, we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
To learn more about what you could do if pain wasn't holding you back, talk to the doctors at Advanced Pain Care. Go to austinpaindoctor.com to get help managing your pain today. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by Advanced Pain Care. Content segments during Studio 512 were paid for by 1-800-GOT-JUNK.